Hi everyone, Keren here from tuppencecolored.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me, and this is what I'm making today. And you may or may not know that I am celebrating my 5th stamp anniversary. I became Stampin Up demonstrator in November of 2014, and I'm celebrating by revisiting some of my old projects, so some of my favourites and some of my most popular videos. And this particular mechanism is kind of both. When I first made it, I got a lot of views. I got cased a lot, and it's been one of my favourites ever since. Now, it's a very impressive mechanism because when you do that and it pops up and the recipient goes, wow, it really does have the wow factor. But once you get your head round how it's constructed, it's actually quite simple. Stay with me, I'll show you how. So I have a piece of real red card here, which I've cut to 4 inches wide, and I've taken just a little bit off the end of the length of the A4 piece, and I'm going to score at 5 3/4, and I'm going to spin it round, and I'm going to score again at 5 3/4, and that's given me just a little bit of a spine down the side of the card, and that's going to help with the bulk of all the paper that's going to be on the inside. Another piece of real red that is 8 inches by 2 inches, and on the short side I'm going to score it at 1 inch, and on the long side I'm going to score it halfway at 4 inches, and I'm going to mark at 5 inches and 3 inches, and turn it over and mark at 3 inches and 5 inches. And I've got a piece of Pool Party that is 3 inches by 10 inches. I'm going to score it at 2.5 inches, at 5 inches, at 7.5 inches. So I'm bringing back my piece of real red, and I've drawn a datum line on my my scoreboard, and I'm just matching up those points that I marked with that datum line. And I'm just going to score between them. And if you didn't want to do this, you could just simply fold the card over. But I think doing this gives it a nice crisp point. Oops, wandered out of the channel there. And then all I had to do then was fold my card in half, and fold it in half again to get my score lines, my fold lines. And then it was simply a matter of creasing that way and creasing that way until I'm left with this sort of shape, and then I just folded in those corners, so I've got a pointer, and then I folded that piece over, and I folded that piece over, so I wound up with something that looks like a house on stilts, and that's going to be the bit that makes the action happen in my card. I've cut 2 panels of the Let It Snow Designer series paper, both the same size, 3 3/4 by 5.5, and I've stuck them down onto the inside of my card to give my adhesive time to dry. So now I'm going to bring in my action piece. So this is the piece that's going to make the magic happen, and I'm just going to slim down one of the little legs on either side. Yep. And now I'm going to glue this into place. I've marked the halfway point on the spine of my card, and I'm lining up the point of the I suppose you could call it an arrow with the spine. I'm just making sure that that is nice and straight, and let's leave that on one side for the adhesive to set while I work on the panels to go on the inside. So I've scored and folded my piece of pool party card, and now I want to round off the corners. Now this, and I did try doing it with my ordinary corner rounder, with this one, but it wasn't really, didn't really have enough authority. So I'm just going back with my corner chomper and just making sure I get all of those corners. Cut 4 panels of the Let It Snow DSP in this pattern, and these are 2 1/4 inches by 3, 2, 1. So I've cut 4 panels of DSP, 3, 2, 1. So I've cut 4 panels of Let It Snow DSP in this pattern, and these are 2 1/4 of an inch. Start again. I've cut 4 panels of DSP in this pattern, and they are 2 1/4 inches by 2 3/4 of an inch, and I've cut 4 in this pattern, and they are 2 inches by 2 1/2 inches, and I've gone ahead and rounded the corners on of most of them. I'm just going to finish off the last 2. And now I'm going to glue them on to the panels, my pool party panels. So I'm just going to layer these mats up. Like this. And it's easier to do this while the card is still flat, rather than trying to do it when it's all been put together. Now I think I've miscut or mismeasured these, and I've not quite got an even border all the way round, so I'm layering them so that there is more of the underlying striped DSP showing at the bottom of the panel. Because that way it just looks better. I'm not 100% sure why. But it makes it look more like you're looking into a picture, into a panel. And I'm already loving the way that this is coming together. Now, I'm using my liquid adhesive for this. Of course, you could use tape if you wanted to. It's the liquid adhesive I happen to have handy. There's the paper. Where's it? Okay. So on one of the sheets of DSP in this pack, you get all of these cute little snowmen, and I've gone ahead and fussy cut out some of the snow people. So I have 2 of each kind, because they are mirror images of each other, and I'm just trying to decide how I want these to appear. So I think what I'm going to do is that I'm going to have these 2 snowmen or snow people in the middle, and then I'll have these 2 guys on the end, and I'm going to keep those for the front of my card. So I'm going to go and stick these into place. The adhesive has had a good long time to set, and off camera I've gone ahead and I've added some strips of tear and tape to the pointy bit at the top of the mechanism here, and onto the fatter of the two legs. And all I did was I just opened it up like that, and I put a bit of tear and tape there and a bit of tear and tape there. I'm going to be using liquid adhesive as well, but the tear and tape will help give me a fast grab, a quick stick. Okay, so here are my little snow people, and I'm folding the card so that I have a folded edge at the top and an open flap at the bottom, and that my snowman's feet are pointing that way. They're pointing to the right, because otherwise they will be landing on their heads when I come to put this together. All right, so I'm going to begin by adding a little bit of liquid adhesive alongside the tear and tape there, and taking the backing off the tape. Doesn't really want to stay on the card, and I'm just going to line this up, just trying to get that reasonably centered, and press that down. And now I'm going to open that up, and same thing along here, a little bit of liquid adhesive, take the backing off of the tear and tape, close everything up again, and just carefully line that into place. And I'm going to take the backing off these couple of little bits of tear and tape up here, if it'll cooperate with me. See, that's come off altogether. That's no good at all. Let's get another piece. It's more like it. And then put my liquid adhesive over the top and just close up my card. And put a bit of pressure onto that. And I hope that when I open my card, my snowmen pop up. I've taken some of the sentiments from the Playful Penguin. It's easy for you to say. I've taken two of the sentiments from the Playful Penguins stamp set. I've got a scrap of Pool Party and Memento Tuxedo black ink, and one of the sentiments, the first one is You're So Cool, and I'm just going to stamp that down on one end of my Pool Party, and the other one says nothing warms the heart quite like a good friend. So lots and lots of light tapping, and I like to take the ink pad to the stamp, not the other way around. And let's try and get this reasonably straight, but it doesn't really matter because I'm going to trim it down. I'm just going to press down and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the ink to transfer, and there we go, happy with that. So let's put the lid back on the ink before I stick my thumb in it. And let's bring back, my card, and again off camera to save a bit of time, I've gone ahead and I've put a mat of the Let It Snow Designer Series paper onto the front cover, and this is how I'm going to make this card up now. So I'm going to take the You're So Cool sentiment, and I'm just going to trim that down reasonably straight. And that's going to stick on the inside of the card here, next to my little snowman. Because I think he is quite cool. in more ways than one. And on the front cover, I have my little snow lady, and this is an offcut from an earlier project actually, and it was one where I wanted to cut an aperture in the card, and I did that with my layering ovals, and I kept the oval out of the middle because as you know, crafters never waste anything. So here's my little snow lady, who is very happy because she's got a nice little robin for a friend on her head there. And although they're different papers, because the coordination with Stampin' Up is so perfect, then they actually looks like she's still been cut out of one piece of paper. Okay, so I'm toying with the idea of using my my banner here. So I'm going to try and centre that and snip that end off. And again, get that centered and snip that end off. And I'm deciding where to put that. And I think that's about right. And let's pop that in to place. I'm going to add in a few of the snowflake sequins, just a few here and there. So let's pop them into place. And there it is. That is the finished card. I added in some snowflake sequins here and there to give it a bit of extra bling, and I added a few in on the inside here around that little happy chappy down by there. One thing I do want to mention is when I assembled this originally, I'm going to turn it over and show you on the back so you can see where I've unstuck it and stuck it back again. Taking that leg all the way down to that edge, it didn't really open up as well as I wanted it to, so I just took that back a little bit. So that is it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. Would love it if you came back and joined me again sometime soon, and would love it if you stayed with me for the next 5 years, maybe. We'll see. Thank you very much for joining me. See you again sometime soon. Bye bye.